Welcome everyone to demo time. Thanks for coming out. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces. This event is mainly just to have people share what they've been building, their startup, their pet project, or a full-fledged company in some cases too. So this is an opportunity for you to hear about cool stuff people are building, ask questions, and at the end of the event, we'll have a little bit of time for networking and social time and talk shop. So today we got 3 awesome demos lined up. First we have Rick Duggan. He's with Concierge software design. Great programmer, ex-Zappos dev, right?
That's right, yes.
So he's a pretty big figure in the software space here in Vegas, and I'm really glad to have him. He's also going to be doing a little bit more deeper dive into the code on this in our Vegas programmers meetup that's going to follow this meetup. So this is probably just more of the front end stuff I imagine you're going to show right now. But if you are curious how he actually built this, we'll dive into more detail in the next meetup here. Then we have Andrew with Revature. He's going to be talking about a Bitcoin software wallet that he's been working on, proof of concept. Interested to hear about that. And also Ivan with CutNet. We had him come probably about 6 months ago now, and he had this idea about building like a Uber for barbers to have them come to your house sort of thing. It's very cool. And now it sounds like he's actually got the app built, and so we'll have him come and share his updates, as well as there's going to be a launch party later at 4 o'clock, right, at Taverna, where there'll be some snacks and stuff like that, and he'll get to talk in more detail about it then. Cool. Without further ado, I'm going to leave some cards and stickers here at the front. If you are interested in giving a demo, grab one of my cards, reach out, or you can go on phpvegas.com, and there's a submit a demo link there where you can see the Google form and submit your talk. So without further ado, Rick, take us away.
Thanks, Josh. So good afternoon, everyone. I want to start and preface this discussion with a couple things. One is, as Josh alluded to, this is just going to be a front-end demo of it's a Chrome extension of the thing itself. But to hype up later on and to catch up with all the things that people are talking about later, I'm going to talk about how I took this from a extension I wrote in JavaScript into how I used AI to rewrite it into TypeScript. And I did that with ChatGPT 3.5, ChatGPT 4, Bard, and then just as a sanity check on all the smart automated stuff, I brought a professional TypeScript developer who's actually in the room with me as well. So we'll get to dive really into the code and how each of those AIs fared in terms of rewriting it. Spoiler alert, one of them sucked. You get to decide which one. Okay, and then to follow up on what Josh was saying, yes, I used to be with Zappos. I was the director of website systems. I want to be super clear, that is the back-end development team at Zappos. That was not Fez, the front-end team. And so for a variety of reasons, the design of this is not going to be the most awesome. I am a back-end developer. So starting, and related to that too, I'm also not a really super great marketing guy. So the first name that popped into my head when I wrote this was IP Request Mapper. And so that's what it's called. I've asked all these AIs to also come up with cooler names for it. Some are pretty decent. I may unveil a new name later, but for now it's IP Request Mapper. And then finally, before we really dive into it, this is in Canva, and Canva has this new AI feature, so I asked Canva to actually write the presentation for me. Let's just say I rewrote most all of it. Okay, so we'll start with the problem statement. You're sitting there and you are visiting a website, and of course, it's super easy, and there's tons of extensions out there that will tell you the IP address of the website you visited. Okay, that's cool, but as we all know, behind the scenes, there's a bunch of other requests being made for ads and tracking and plugins and all these kinds of things that are happening behind the scenes. So I actually wanted to understand where all of those pieces were coming from. And so that was the idea that popped into my head for this. It also turns out that, so I actually, to follow up on that, I did this while I was at Zappos during one of the quarterly hackathons. And so during my time at Zappos, every quarter, you would have one day set aside to just work on whatever project that you wanted to. You could do it with a team, you could do it by yourself, it could be something just totally for fun, it could be something that you thought was a real feature that was needed. And there was actually a vote for each quarter, and then whoever won, if their thing was something real for like the website or a back-end tool, they would actually be given additional time set aside to work on that and implement it for real. So it really led to a lot of very good innovation for Zappos. This was more on just the fun side. I was just curious about it. As you can see from the second paragraph, it was a lot better of an idea than the idea I had worked on in the previous hackathon, which was I was working on programmatically spinning up EC2 instances. And I got that working pretty quickly and was spinning up those like micro instances. And I thought, I wonder how it would be, how long it would take if I did that for like, I forget what they have, M5 double X large or some like giant instance. And you know, the micros spin up within a few seconds. These larger ones actually took a few minutes to spin up, and what I was not aware of is, at least at the time, as I recall, there was a 1 hour minimum on these. So by me running my script one time, that cost about $300. Thankfully, it was bug-free, and I didn't have to run it a whole bunch of times. But anyway, that led to this idea, which was much safer to do. All right, so what does this thing do? As I said, it maps your request onto a Google map, and it will continue to track that website that you're visiting as it's doing its refreshes. Obviously, also a lot of sites are tracking your scrolling and your behavior on the site. So this helps you visualize all of that. All right, so who is this written for? This is actually pretty useful for a variety of people. One is it can kind of help you identify performance issues by seeing, hey, you know, obviously you get that through the dev tools and the network tab, but this is more of a visual way to see what's going on. It actually could also be used by security researchers to find out, hey, this request that I thought was like in this region is actually going off. And about 50% of the time that I've been running this today, one of my requests has been going to China. Nothing wrong with China, but certainly there are some spying things that occur. So, you know, maybe something fishy is going on there. We don't know. So we'll see if that happens. And then, as I mentioned, the teaser for later, Bard, ChatGPT, and a professional TypeScript developer. And then mostly just left this slide in because Canva decided that somehow a bathtub was a good way to end the presentation. Okay, so that's what this thing is, and now we're going to move into a demo. I got to do a little switcheroo here to get the map up. But while I'm doing that, spend a few seconds thinking about websites that you often visit and that you want to visualize. I'll start with a couple to show it, and then we'll dive into audience participation. So give me a moment.
And then can we also get the lights dimmed a little bit?
Sorry, Sammy, what was that?
I'm going to try and dim the lights a little bit.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, if you couldn't see that, you weren't missing much.
We could see it was just a little washed out. Yeah, he's there. I got it. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Can you try dimming the lights a little bit so we can see the screen? All right.
How many engineers does it take to turn down the lights?
I know, right?
There we go.
Oh, wait.
Hey, we're software people, not hardware people, so. All right, awesome. So a couple things. The first thing it does when you open it is it puts a pin where it thinks you are. So kind of an interesting test. Obviously, we're correct, it's in Las Vegas, but if you were to go through a VPN, it might show you in a different location. So the first site I'll visit, just random site, thought of CNN.com, and we'll see kind of what happens. Okay, so far so good. Let me actually zoom that out just a shade, which is going to be fun because the zoom out button is down here. Wait, nope, up, Could we get this projector adjusted slightly? Is that possible? Because I'm going to have to do that like 12 times during this.
What do you need done?
I don't think so. Is the projector up or down?
It's this one here.
Right.
Just, yeah, if I could get just the bottom part of the screen
Bottom part of it?
visible.
Should we just pull it back?
Even at the expense of the top part.
Okay. Sorry.
So while we're waiting for the technical support, any questions so far on the concept, the idea, how it works?
So what exactly is going on right now? Like, because I would expect when you made that request that I would have just seen maybe a handful of locations, but I'm seeing stuff all over the map here. So are these like assets or ads on the site and everything else?
Yes and yes and yes. So it's trackers, it's ads, it's page assets, it's kind of anything that you can think of. And that's, again, one of the kind of interesting findings is that this goes on and on and on. Like you can sit on a page, and by the way, there's a counter at the bottom right.
There, that's good.
Yeah, I can just barely see. It looks like 507 requests. So I visited the homepage of CNN, and so far in the minute and a half we've been on that site, there have been 500 requests from that page for other things. Like you said, could be page assets, could be whatever. Certainly images will be like from a CDN, that sort of thing. And yeah, you're just seeing stuff coming from all over the world just based on that one request. So, first thought there is, oh my goodness, 500 requests. There's actually a site that's a little bit worse, and I'll see if I can get this. There is a little button down here where you can, clear all the requests. Okay, I'll come back over here. For whatever reason, I decided to visit the Houston Chronicle website. I don't remember why, it just popped into my head also. And this one, last time I checked, generated about 700 requests to show its homepage. And so I think you could kind of infer a few things from that. One is, God, 700 requests for one page seems like massive overkill. Also, if you're on your phone, you're thinking about how much data am I wasting and pulling down for all this stuff. Like there's just, a bunch of things about it that are pretty bad. Now it's cranking at about 270 if you can't see that real clearly right now. 300, we're looking at 330. So it's still humming along. And I guess apparently not more than CNN. So I will show you one more and then I will take audience requests. So yes and no. That's a future feature for this. You certainly could see it from the network tab, but at this point you've got everything in the network tab and you have all of these and there's not a cross connection between them. But yes, I have thought about that.
Yeah, that's like an oil rig out there.
That one's interesting, and I'll point out another interesting one actually before I change. So it's not, you can see right here, that's somewhere in Texas, looks like probably Austin. There's one slightly above it, which is probably like Dallas. And then there's one above it, which looks like it's in Kansas. And I don't know if any of you know how geolocation works, especially IP geolocation. What happens is you give this service the IP address and it figures out the geolocation. There's a default for that, which ends up being in the middle of Kansas. But there's a funny story about that, and I'm getting some nods over here. So what it used to be was, I think they used like the dead geographic center of the US as that. And people got curious about what, was there some giant data center here? What's going on? And it's just an address. If they don't know, they just put it there. People would drive by, I guess this guy's farm. You can correct me if I'm getting the details of the story wrong. But they located it kind of near someone's personal address. And that was not good, so they have taken that, and now it's in the middle of a lake. So if I were to zoom in on those ones up there, it actually is in the middle of a lake, and I don't know if anyone has boated out to see if there's a data center. Actually, the funny one about the Horn of Africa one, isn't there a guy who bought, like, not an oil rig, but bought something off, like, the coast of England where he created his own country and was going to have some kind of crypto data center? I'm getting a nod from the crypto guys, so my memory is mostly correct. All right. Okay. Anyone see my cursor? Because I can't. There it is. Okay. All right. We will clear that out. We'll do one more, and then we'll take audience requests. I will actually let the audience guess what this one is. 27 requests, the page is done.
Twitter.
Craigslist. Famously known for not having overly heavy pages, and proven to be true. So there you go.
How are like requests for someone who's not technical?
Yeah.
Can you help us understand requests? What does it mean to have fewer requests? Does it mean your page is more simple? Does it mean you don't have any images?
Yeah, pretty much all of those. So when you make a request for a page, Craigslist.org, it goes out and we'll skip all the magic of DNS. It makes a request to a server and says, hey, give me this page. And that page will come back with HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, which your browser renders. And part of that would be, hey, by the way, there's an image over here. And that doesn't need any JavaScript. That's just, the image on this page is here, go fetch it. And there's this sort of implied thing as you're building out the page that every asset, we call them assets, every asset that's on the page is just gone out and pulled down without you doing. You've sort of said, I want to see everything on this page, so go get it. And then when you throw JavaScript into the mix, that's where it gets interesting, because now with JavaScript, JavaScript can run and say, oh, every 1 second I want to send, I'm making this up, the position of the cursor on the screen. Maybe they're hovering over something interesting, things like that. So typically a page, if this were like 1999, the page would render and pretty much be done and you wouldn't see all these other requests. But you throw all these ads in the mix. Think about when you go visit a website and you're on that site for a minute, and for the 30 seconds you see this ad, and then 30 seconds you see a different ad. That was another one or more requests. 30. So if I sat on a thing with a bunch of ads that are refreshing all the time, this count will just continue to go up indefinitely. All right, so as soon as I clear this, I will take audience requests. There we go.
I have a question. Is it bad if you have a lot of server requests? Is it bad?
Kinda. I mean, think about the performance, right? Every request is taking at least tens of milliseconds. So you're putting a load on, your computer, and
So if you put in workbnbapp.com,
sorry, work
work
B app.
app.com,
Yep.
and there's a shit ton of server requests, that's not good.
Well, Workbnb is one of our friends here at Vegas Tech, so no, it's not wrong. They can do whatever they want. We love Workbnb. So let's see, 119.
But is that
Nothing insane.
So are, okay, I was going to request for being made right now. That looks like a pinging request more than like an asset request.
Yeah, I mean, we could dig into the developer tools and kind of get a little more granular into what it is. How much time do I have left, by the way?
We can take a couple more questions.
Okay.
About 5-10 minutes.
All right. Other sites people are interested in? I do have to do this weird turnaround. Sorry, guys. Clear the thing.
dailymail.co.uk.
We can, and we will. Not from my personal computer, no. We're at about 90 on Daily Mail.
There's a request down here. All right, we can take two more questions. Two more questions. Anyone? One over here and one over there. Go first.
So, does it have the ability to, like I know a lot of sites, you have that initial request where you have all the requests that are coming in, but a lot of them have that, the no cache control and such like that.
Yeah.
Do you have the ability to actually see, okay, well, these are the requests, but we actually, they are going to be cached or not?
I'd have, if you come back at 3:40, whatever time the next session is, we can answer that question, because then we can look at the code. But that's a great question. I don't remember off the top of my head how that is.
And there was one more over there.
One more?
So is this also compatible with Quick and Web3 and WebSockets, or will that trip up your comps?
Yeah, so right now, WebSockets are a little iffy. They're in the code, but because it's a session, I'm not entirely, I think I have to do some more work to intercept the actual request. What I believe would happen now is that you would see one request to open the WebSocket, but you wouldn't necessarily see everything in. But that's a great question, and it's a conversation that Tristan and I had, 2 weeks ago? Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. I do want to point out one final thing. I am on dailymail.co.uk, but just to talk about tracking briefly, I recently searched for tickets for Jason Isbell in the 400 unit, who's playing at Wynn tomorrow night. And that is the top ad that I'm seeing on my screen. So somebody knows something about me is all I'm saying.
Are you on the local Wi-Fi?
I am on local Wi-Fi. That's fair. It could be based more on IP address than browsing history. I'm going to venture to guess that, also a fair point, I'm going to venture to guess that it's a little deeper than that, but you might not be wrong. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Session in this exact same room. If you would love to do more nitty-gritty technical questions and see how this was made, please stay for that 2:45 session. Our next person is also someone who is presenting what I'm going to call it a passion project, but basically the idea is somebody chose to make this application just because they wanted to. And when Rick and our next speaker, Andrew, feel free to go get connected, when you spend your extra time making things just because it's cool, like that's the beginning of innovation, that's the beginning of entrepreneurship, right? Our final speaker will be Ivan, and you're going to see how something that looks cool becomes a business and a startup that launches today, and will be the launch party afterwards at Tech Alley. But the opportunity to celebrate people who make things just because they're cool. The idea that every single person in this room has something that we could all make, and we could all demo here if that's something we chose to do. It's so powerful, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll give Andrew our time and celebrate this moment with him because he's put something very cool together.
All right, I don't have an HDMI
I can
port,
help with that.
so thank you.
Matt keeps it, right?
Yes.
By the way, I left the microphone up on the table right there.
Oh yeah, just
Oh,
put
okay.
that onto your shirt there.
Do you want to help with it?
Yep, I think I got it.
If anyone wants to apply to demo your project here or your startup here, you can either go to phpvegas.com. phpvegas.com, or you can reach out to either Joshua or myself. We have, I think, one slot left for August, so please feel free to reach out sooner rather than later. But yes, anybody who has a project that they can demo it in this space. All we ask is that you can actually showcase your product here, and then we'll all get very excited with you.
My next one will be 2033, because I actually started that in 2013. So it's going to be a while.
What if we request that you come back next week?
I'll figure out something. I'll come up with a new one.
30-day challenge. 30-day challenge. All right, you ready?
Yeah, okay. Hi everyone, thanks for having me. First time coming here. Came with my friend Dylan. We just got back from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the first time, for me. So if I'm out of breath or something, it's because it's his fault. But all right, so yeah, let me introduce myself. We've got some notes here. So my name's Andrew. I work at Revature. We do hire people, train, deploy to a lot of clients. So we have experience training people to be software developers. This is a personal project I wanted to work on for two reasons. I wanted to learn Python. I started by I learned JavaScript when I got into programming, did web development, and then I learned Java when I went to Revature. And so I wanted to learn Python, get some more experience with it, and then I'm into Bitcoin, so I read this book called Programming Bitcoin to get into the technical details of it. So yeah, I wanted to build an actual software wallet after reading that book. So I'm going to assume you guys are kind of familiar with Bitcoin. If not, I can kind of go over the technical fundamentals of it. But yeah, this is a Bitcoin software wallet that's going to, track, store your private keys, and enable you to send Bitcoin, view transactions that are sent to the wallet, et cetera. So, yeah, let me get into the demo. So first, I'm going to start off. Let me zoom in here. Can everyone? You guys can't see that. Okay. Let me.
Or just hit enter a few times. Are you in the terminal?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Maybe if I just move this back a little bit.
I think you need to go closer.
Other way, closer.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So. Yeah. So. You guys can. Oh. I'm just going to leave it there. All right. So, yeah, I start my Python script. I configured 2 modes. You can run it in test mode or prod mode. So test mode uses the testnet, so you're not actually on the main Bitcoin chain. You're just on the testnet, because I don't want to actually accidentally send real Bitcoin. So I just want to send fake Bitcoin. Enter my password. And the first thing you'll notice here is I actually deleted the file that contains the binary seed for the wallet, so I'm going to have to generate a new one or recover it from a seed phrase. If you don't know what that means, it's just every private keys are what you use to sign transactions that enable you to send Bitcoins, so you need that. The wallet needs that in order to sign transactions and be able to view balances and things like that. So we're going to actually first go into this menu, and we're going to generate a new Bitcoin wallet. And we're going to say, no, we don't want to include a passphrase. All right, so it says your wallet has been generated. This is one of the Bitcoin improvement suggestions, or I think they're called BIPs, where it'll generate this. You see the string of just random words right here. This is your seed phrase. So you can take this, write it down, store it somewhere secure, and then anytime you want to, let's say you lose your software wallet, it gets corrupted, you have a hardware device, it gets lost or something. As long as you have these words, you can always load it into another compatible software, and then it will, you have all your Bitcoin there. So it's literally, Bitcoin is really cool because it's basically, you can store value as information, right? So what I'm going to do is take this, and I'm going to actually save it. I have in here, in this folder, just some, you see I have some contacts, password, phrase, seed, and then for the testnet, I have a separate file. So I'm just going to actually create a test phrase, and then I'm going to write that in there, just so I have it as a backup. All right, so now that we have our Bitcoin wallet, we can go back and we can actually show the Bitcoin address. So this takes the binary seed, and then it creates a private key from that. From that private key, we can generate a public key. From that, we can generate a Bitcoin address. I don't know if that's cut off, but you guys can see that's the actual address right there. And then I used a Python library to actually spit out a QR code so other people can, you guys could actually come here and scan this. If you have a wallet, this is on testnet though, so and you can send Bitcoin to that address. So actually what we're going to do, you can see the balance here is 0 sats. Sats stands for Satoshis, which are the smallest unit in Bitcoin. There's 100 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin. So we're going to go to this testnet faucet. This is, you can just get Bitcoin sent to your address. Since they're not worth anything, people set up these websites that you can actually do that. So we're going to go over here. We're going to copy this testnet address. We're going to paste it in here, and then click Send Testnet Bitcoin. Did it actually click? Yes, okay. All right, so it says we've sent, let me zoom in here. We've sent some small amount of test Bitcoin to that address. So let's actually show the wallet address again. All right, now our balance has changed, and so we've actually got 5,897 sats in there. You can also, let's go back to the main menu, and let's go to View Bitcoin Transactions. So this is actually, I've just used, it actually doesn't show up yet. It probably hasn't been confirmed yet. But once the transaction does show up, it'll show here. I just send out a request to an API and parse that JSON data and display it here. So let's give it a minute and see if it actually shows up. We should be able to go to this transaction ID. Let's just open this up. Yeah, so now, yeah, we should be able to see this transaction on the blockchain. So let's see, does it actually show up? Okay, it's not showing up for some reason. So let me move on to the next part of the demo, which is, yeah, we're gonna view our contacts. So I built in a basic, add a contact list here. So if we go to here, I just included some names and Bitcoin addresses. So these are their public key addresses, the public Bitcoin addresses. So you can easily send Bitcoin to anyone in your contact list. I can get an individual contact. Not sure why I did that. So let's say we want to send some Bitcoin back to this this faucet. Let's go back to the main menu, send Bitcoin, and okay, so when we send Bitcoin, it tells us, hey, here's your current balance. How much Bitcoin do you want to send? Let's send 4,000 sats. And yes, we want to confirm that. And hopefully it goes through. Yeah, so transaction completed gives you the transaction ID. You can look that up on a blockchain explorer. So if I copy this, let's go here and enter it into a blockchain explorer. And then you can see it's unconfirmed and see all the details of the transaction. All right, what else did I want to show? Yeah, let's go back to our wallet and then make sure our balance has actually changed. So yeah, 89 sats left. So it took the amount that I wanted to send plus a transaction fee, and then that's what I have left.
So Andrew, this is what we see on the front end. On the back end, like, what's happening? How complex is this? How many lines of code did you have to go through?
It wasn't that many lines of code, actually, because I think I calculated about 1,000 lines of Python code. I used some libraries to help me out. The book, Programming Bitcoin, goes really deep into the protocol level, but after I finished that book, I had written all the example code, but I wanted to kind of abstract that. So there's a Bitcoin library called Bit that kind of abstracts a lot of that, and you can just send Bitcoin in a few lines of code. And then I just had to do a lot of the programming around persisting to files, hitting some API to see the transaction data, and then what else? Yeah, I wanted to validate when you put in the address that it's actually a valid address. Yeah, so that's what I did basically.
How long does it take someone if they're saying, I don't know any Python, but I really want to try learning something? If they chose this project, how long would it take them to learn these things?
I would say you have to learn some basic Python, and then I would say learn about Bitcoin a little bit, and then if you use a library like the Bit library, it's pretty easy. to do it, so it shouldn't take you that long at all. Like I think I built this in like a month last year, and then just on some like free time, and then I did a little bit more at the beginning of this month, and that's about it. So.
Are there other audience questions? One over here.
Yeah, Dylan.
Yeah, so if you create, or if you have a transaction, is that, is the address you send that to automatically saved to your addresses?
No, but that's a good feature. I should add that. Good feature idea.
Would you mind sticking around for the programmers meetup to go into the code?
Sure,
a bit?
sure.
That'd be interesting to take a look at that.
Absolutely.
And also, did you get submitted when you did BJJ just now, or did anybody choke you out?
Yeah, Dylan kicked my butt. So.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
We're just wrapping up over here. Are there any other audience questions?
I have one more question.
Yes.
When you sent, I think you sent 1,000 Satoshis,
It was like 4,000. Yeah.
and you now have 89. So the transaction fee was 4,000. Did you know that it was going to be 4,000?
The library that I use automatically calculates some fee based on, I don't know, whatever the value that you're sending.
So what would have happened if you had tried to send, say, 2,000?
Oh, I handle insufficient funds, error, and print some error message. I can probably show that. Yeah, so let's go back and then let's send some Bitcoin, and then let's send our whole balance. It's not going to be able to, I think, because
You need a transaction fee.
we need a transaction fee. So insufficient funds, transaction not sent.
Awesome. Thank you so much. As a reminder, we will have all of our speakers and presenters available afterwards if you have more questions, especially if you want to ask him all these technical questions about how he built this, what he's learned from the process. Definitely really, really interesting. And if anyone, I'm going to do this exercise again. I did this like 5 months ago at my first Tech Alley. But can you raise your hand if you have a crypto coin wallet, like you have some sort of wallet and you use cryptocurrency? Just raise your hand. Oh my God, this is so much bigger than last time. Whoa. Wait, no, can you keep them up? I'm actually going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, out of roughly 25 people, 18 people had this. The first time we did this, we were in a room where the panel was about blockchain, and we were at around 18% of the room having blockchain, which is the global average, that on average 18% of all people, not just US, are using stuff like that. And to kind of anchor that, if 18% of us are using crypto coins and wallets and things like that, which a lot of people use as investments, how can we compare that to another number so we can go, is 18% high or low? So 54% of Americans have some sort of stock investment, including their 401k. When I was doing that analysis and I was sitting in the room watching some of our great blockchain leaders like James Brooks speak, I was like, hey, how do we solve that problem? And the answer is time. The people in this room today, 18 out of about 25 people have blockchain wallets. So that's really, really amazing.
Sammy, I would ask another question based on that. Ask this same room how many had those a year ago, and I think the number will still be high. So I can speak for these 4. And we all had stuff a year ago. So I'm thinking the audience changed a fair bit. I don't think the adoption changed. I don't think there's a ton of people in this room that just started doing it in the last 5 months.
Well,
That's my theory.
I started in the last month, but let's
Okay.
try it. First question to you all is, please raise your hand if you had blockchain or cryptocurrency more than a year ago.
Hey, here's a microphone for you. You want to get set up?
Yeah, just want to make sure this laptop is, because I left it in the car.
Oh, probably overeating. Yeah.
Yeah.
The same number of people had it a year ago. No one in this room started in the last 6 months.
I actually thought I had it, and then I
appreciate
never
coming
used
through,
it for anything.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate you having me.
I have $5
got a
in Ethereum
adapter for
because
you.
someone decided that was the
Oh,
way
wait,
they
you
were
got
going to do
HDMI
that.
over there.
Yeah.
Here, I'll get you.
It all starts somewhere, right? So our final speaker
So I hope
today
it's
is
can turn on.
who has our startup launch party. If you guys did not know this, when Joshua Copeland created Tech Alley, he said, I want this to be phenomenal for everyone involved. And so at some point we started saying, hey, you know what? Startups are actually launching. Startups who met people and built connections and maybe got investors or clients
Good.
Tech Alley.
Wi-Fi?
Launched their startups. We should celebrate that.
Don't tell me there's no
So they
Wi-Fi.
committed to hosting a free startup launch party.
Artificial?
For any
Okay,
startup
cool.
that goes through here. We only
It is hot.
That is
Yeah,
the
no,
one
it's
startup
very
that launches per month. So for July, it's going to be us and CutNet. CutNet actually came to us about 6 months ago. So raise your hand if you saw Ivan present 6 months ago. Oh, we have one. We have a couple of people. Okay. But it's going to be really, really interesting to see how far a startup in our community has gone in 6 months. And again, I've already said it. Ivan is launching today. So it'll be very, very cool to see this now finished product that we can start using today.
Thank you for having me. Just waiting for my laptop to turn on. Awesome. Okay. Let's see here. How's everybody doing today?
Great.
It's cooler in here.
Yeah, I'm sweating bullets. Okay. All right. Sorry, computer's booting up. Okay. Controls. Password. Okay. All right. Ready? All right, everybody ready? All right. All right. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for having me. My name is Ivan Duggan. I'm the founder of CutNet. It's a mobile hair service where we send hair professionals to you no matter the place. And today, well, I'm happy to announce to show you guys the brand new app that we have created. Yes, this is our brand new service. It is on the website, but right now version 2, where we're making right now, will be downloadable. So this is where everybody can sign up and get their own personal hair professional come to them no matter the place, whether it be your barber, stylist, whoever it might be. And the best part is we have launched this in 3 cities, here in Vegas, LA, and Honolulu, Hawaii. And this is just the first stage. We're gonna expand cities further down the road as we expand. But right now we have a few stylists, experts right here who are in Los Angeles, Hawaii, and here in Vegas as well. And to give you a showcase on the consumer side of things, you get to see, of course, the first page of the site, where you see what we provide. We provide every kind of hair service, whether it be weaving, whether it be curls, whether it be twists, whether it be normal haircuts, trims, anything you think of, even color too as well. Now, as you see, you go on here, okay, I want to sign up. So you go to the account, get to log in as a customer, or if you're a hair professional who's licensed, you can register as a vendor. Put in the vendor information and get to have your own shop where you can put in what you do. Either be, oh, I can cut hair for men and women, or just men, or just women, or both. And on top of that, what we like to do is, what's the best thing about our service is that we just don't connect you to any hair professional. We connect you to hair professionals based on hair texture. Everybody has their own, everybody's different. Let's put it that way. Everybody's different. We have straight hair, curly hair, kinky hair to coarse hair, any kind of hair. And I know that a lot of people have a difficulty to go to a hair shop and see some hair professionals and ask, hey, can you do my hair? And first things, there's a chance that they won't. But show of hands, how many people have witnessed that situation where they go to a barber shop or a stylist shop where the stylist doesn't know how to do your hair? As point being. Yeah, so to give context, why did I even start this to begin with? I started this during college, 2019, and I had a friend in college who ran around school, cut hair. You know, my barber was back home. My home was an hour away, New York, by the way. And I decided to try him out because I'm not going to drive an hour just to get my hair cut. So best case scenario, just try the person who's in my school. So I asked him, hey, can you do my hair? And he did. Did in my dorm. And at first I thought, man, if famous people can have their own hair professional barber anytime, why can't all of us? You know, we're busy. We have business owners, investors, whoever we're doing walks of life. You have your schedule, time of day, you're busy. When it comes to meetings, interviews, or even just going on dates, you want to look your best. You want to look presentable because your outside appearance speaks for itself. So I thought, okay, so concept of something like Uber, then there's the hair care market, blend together. CutNet, where we bring hair professionals to you no matter the place. And ever since then, it's been just pushing forward to try to test, try to go through the hurdles, ups and downs, and yeah, been proud to say that we finally get to launch this in not just one, but 3 cities. So.
Can you walk us through how we can actually shop on the site?
Absolutely. So as you sign up, of course, you get to check out the services that's available. Now, the services that are available, there's varieties. The prices fluctuate depending on the person, of course. Some hair professionals charge differently from others. And depending on your location, whether it be, of course, we're in Vegas. So, where we can find Vegas barber stylists? Well, that's easy. We just go in stylists. And we have one of the feature stylists, Quates Cuts. Oh, look at that. And she's here in Vegas, and guess what? She provides these services. Blowouts to color, men's haircuts, silk press, women's haircuts as well. And on top of that, as I mentioned before, we have different hair textures. So, as you see in her page, you can see that she does, for both men and women, all textures. So does that give each common folk the idea that, oh, wow, my hair texture's on there. So she can do my hair. I don't have to find anybody. I don't have to go on Google and be like, what's a good hair shop? Because here's the thing. We go into each hair shop and I mentioned before, don't know who can do your hair the right way. But I could say this, is that when you go on to, of course, this, to find a stylist near you, of course, this is where they shop. And say, me as a guy, men's haircuts, add to cart. Okay. You view cart. Proceed to checkout. Now, there'll be a hold. There'll be a hold. There'll be a hold. It's not going to process completely. There'll be a hold. The hold will go through until the service is done. Once the service is done, then it will be released. And of course, there's a window for you to say, okay, I didn't like it, and this is not the style for me that I thought it would be. There's a window for that. There's a 20-minute window. If you didn't like it, you can definitely reach out to us, and then we review the finished product, and of course, a before and after, and see your pictures and compare. And of course, if this is the same thing that is shown that this person provides, then of course, there will be no refund. But if it's not, there will be a refund. Of course. But of course, I'm not signing, of course, I'm not a customer right now, but I'm showing you an example. And for hair professionals, of course, there is a view where they have their own shop, where they, of course, post wherever they provide. And on top of that, you can also promote yourself on social media as well if you're a hair professional. But otherwise, this is what we have so far. And of course, it's simple care cut, but this is just version 1. There's many versions to come, and we're happy to present this today and launch it today. So I thank you. Any questions, concerns, comments, feedback, hate mail? I'm ready for the hate mail.
Question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for the people who are willing to take care of all textures of hair, is there a special training that they've gone through? Is it more from experience and their willingness to do it?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
And then it's based on what they provide to us. If you're honestly saying like, okay, if I'm a barber and I've done every kind of person in walks of life before I even stumble upon this platform, then I could say, hey, oh yeah, I've done straight hair, curly hair, all that. But it goes back to the hair professionals. If they say one thing and they don't do the other, then that's on them, and that's gonna blow back on them. So that's their own discretion.
But of course, that's good, because if they don't understand or know how to do a certain thing, they wouldn't advertise it, and then they're able to deliver a good product for what they're comfortable with.
Exactly.
So,
It comes down to them. You, sir?
Being able to search by city and zip code
Mhm.
could be beneficial to the stylist.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So when you pick the haircut that you want, does it automatically pair you with a barber, or do you get a list of barbers that you get to select from?
You get a list of barbers you get to select from. This is for version 1. Version 2, any place you're stepping into is going to populate the hair professional near you. So version 1 is going to show the ones who are in the cities that we're of course in for now. So, and we're going based on also following up the zip code.
What answers that?
Yeah.
Just for me, it didn't make it quite clear.
Yeah.
To think that it was the same city.
Absolutely.
So from a conceptual perspective, this looks to me kind of like Uber for stylists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like a DoorDash for stylists, whatever
Well,
where you
yeah,
want to do it.
same,
Yeah.
So from an operational perspective, right, two things. My first question is, as far as your like checkout process, is there an easy way to like add a tip to the amount?
Yes. So
It wasn't clear on
yeah.
And my other question
yeah.
is, as far as stylists themselves, when you guys contract with a stylist, I assume that there's some kind of a vetting process, and there's got to be a way to maintain the current roster, right? Like someone
Absolutely.
stops being a stylist. Or whatever.
Yeah. So just like for example, I'm just gonna do like an example with Uber, because I've done Uber Eats for myself. Say like, okay, you're available. Like say you want to make some money, right? Turn on the status. You're available. They can do the same thing. If they're not available, they can turn off the status. If they want to be available, they can turn it on, and you also see, when they're available, of course.
When that stylist comes to me, do I have to, like, do they cut my hair in my kitchen?
Oh, any place you pick, any place you space. If you're any place that you're comfortable with.
Do I have to provide anything special for that?
No, not really. Not really at all. You just need a chair. Yeah, they bring their own tools. You just need a chair and yourself. That's pretty much it. Any other question? Yes.
I have two really annoying questions.
I love it.
So the first one is about your future vision and where you're planning to take CutNet.
Mhm.
And the second one is, why did you choose to launch with this version of CutNet?
Absolutely. So the future version of CutNet, of course, there's steps to everything, of course. If I want everything that I dreamed with CutNet into one platform instantly, then of course, this would have been a whole completely different presentation, of course. But of course, in reality, there's money always involved. Is number one. Number two, future vision. The future vision is, there's a lot, but to make it simple, our future vision is international. Right now, spread by city to city, but first is national, then international. They're having the more access on-demand concierge kind of feel to that you can just go anywhere you're going, either be here, Paris, wherever you're going in the world. You can have easy access to hair professionals based on your preferences. It's going to be automatically populated based on your preferences. Any city you step in, any state, any country you step in, you're always going to have the hair professionals right there when they're available, of course. And then the number two one, you said, why stick with this version?
Why did you launch
This version. So there were many versions before this. There was alphas and there was tests, and we're trying to feel out what's the perfect middle ground to start the foundation. We're testing, basically, as people like, I can make a good analogy with this. As we place a brick for a house, gotta try to build a foundation. Either the foundation be sturdy, or it could be rocky and the house breaks down. So there's been rocky foundations here and there. But with this one, with the help, of course, with Joshua Stacy, who was part of Big Technology Builders, he was able to help us be able to make a simple concept, a good foundation where we can build up from here. So this is a good spot and good start for us.
Two questions,
Mhm.
both as an agile story. The first one, as a user, how do I know I'm going to get matched up with
All right, so number one, so as I mentioned, this is version 1. Future versions will get more geared up with a map where it shows you who's closer to you. So what we do is that we let hair professionals know what city you're in. So it makes it easier. And also you can speak, so as a message box, you can speak to hair professionals and see how far they are from where your location is. So you can speak to them, converse. But at number 2, as to Styles' point, you were mentioning how like competition. So, of course, stylists themselves can see other prices of other stylists, what they provide on the platform themselves, on the main website, of course. And then they'd be like, oh, this stylist, let's see, for example, blowouts, not blowouts, men's haircuts, this one's 120, and this one's 45. You know, the person with 45 could have more people coming to them. However, compared to someone who's selling it for 120. Granted, they're applying to different demographics. And if we want to go narrow it down to the stylist who's doing these prices, this person right here, the vendor, Lee Corp. Lee Corp is in Cali. And the person who's doing the 45, this one, Quates Cuts, here in Vegas. But also comes down to, of course, their preferences, their prices. So, you know, this would help them, for each and every hair professional, to be more competitive and try to, you know, get more customers on their end. But granted, when it comes to different cities now, it's a different ballgame. Because the markets here, like Vegas compared to LA, is different. So if I'm in LA, I'm a stylist, and I just like being in LA, I like to stay in LA, I'm gonna deal with, you know, competitors who are in my industry who are in LA. And people who are in Vegas, of course, if I'm a stylist in Vegas, I'm gonna deal with people in Vegas, of course.
Yeah, so I have a question related to his sort of stylist competitive incentive thing.
Yeah.
And based on what you're saying now, it seems like it would be to a stylist advantage to list their price as $1 or something, and then make a deal on the back end with the client where they pay with cash, right? Or to make future appointments directly through them, right? Like, I think a lot of people generally, when they find a stylist they like, they're like, okay, this is my guy, I'm going to call that guy, right? What is the incentive for the stylist to continue working through your site once they've made that initial connection?
So once they made an initial connection, so with the customer who already, like, say, like they already did the customer already. Yeah.
You pair them once,
Paired
you
it once.
like each other,
Yeah.
and now the stylist is like, hey, you know what, if you call me directly, I can charge you less because I don't have to share with them.
Oh, no, so when it comes to the stylists themselves, like, I tell the stylists, each and every stylist I meet, like, whatever price you make is what you, like, whatever price you make, be true to that price. And also it comes down to your skill level. Because, you know, you could say, oh, I sell for 120, but I do a terrible job with this haircut. Then that's on you. And, okay, say the customer did like the cut. And, like, okay, I want you back. Now, for future versions, customers can add hair professionals to their favorites, so it's recurring. Right now, of course, not right now, but our plan is to have that as a list, a future, you know, a favorite section. So you have a favorite list, so you can add them, keep adding them every time you are here in Vegas, or say I'm in California, I like this person in California, cut my hair. Oh, they're in my favorite sites. Oh, they're available. I can book them again. And of course, same price, wherever it was last time, of course. And of course, as to mention, you know, of course, what if they did like a back-end deal, like it's not going through the platform, stuff like that. So we actually, there's a user agreement with that. So every hair professional knows that. They cannot discreetly do that. This is breaking our user agreement. And on top of that, there's a payment processing system already. So it's already built in. So they can link it to their cards and they get whatever, of course, they get from the customer, of course.
Just because I love this, I've gotten haircuts out plenty of time. I have a friend that he's a master barber. He actually got his license suspended for cutting hair at his house. How does like that play into this?
So it's funny you say that because the industry with the hair industry is, let's just say there has been a lot of what you're saying to me right now. I've been hearing that with a lot of hair professionals, but it's mixed. Some did lose their license. Some kept going with the in-home and still haven't lost their license at all. Depending on their methods, I don't know how they do it. Some have gone to the customer themselves, and some, of course, did in their own homes. And even when I saw with Booksy still has, of course, hair professionals that ask customers, hey, come to my house. They still do that. Licensed hair professionals, of course. Now, I know in your friend Master Barber's case how that situation went was whoever came out and said, oh, this person cut my hair in their house or whatever. But I can say this is that the way how things are within the market with everything's coming to us. This is a everything coming to us kind of market. Uber Eats, DoorDash, Amazon, hell, traveling nurses, especially. So with the hair industry, of course, there's a lot of mixed feelings with it. But what I'm starting to see when speaking to a lot of hair professionals from not even here, but also in LA, Hawaii, and some in New York when I started doing this, and also in New York, a lot of people, especially in the pandemic, didn't care about the government's rules. There's a lot of hair professionals who broke a lot of rules during the pandemic. I spoke to a lot of hair professionals, especially master barbers too, who just broke the rules. It's like, hey, I had customers like hound me down saying like, hey, I don't care, just come to my house, cut my hair. And then especially I heard this one story from a hair professional here in Vegas who said they cut someone's hair in a grocery store.
We can take one more audience question.
Yeah.
I see one over there.
Yeah.
See?
Hi there. So I just spoke earlier, and I happen to be a licensed cosmetologist of like 17 years.
Oh, wow.
And I did this for a couple of years, and there's, as a business owner and a business background for a business acumen, I have to ask. So what the gentleman just said right now actually is true. So the board that regulates our license is OSHA. So OSHA does a slap on the wrist for the first time. The second time, you out. But I'm sharing this with you because there's an even bigger thing to consider. And I'm sharing this with you because I've seen this, right?
Yeah.
It's the liability. Let's say that I'm stylist Z, and Bob has hired me off the app. I go to Bob's house, the dog bites me, I step on a nail, or I fall and, I broke my back. You gotta have strong liability, you as the platform, but also the stylist. For the malpractice insurance that insures our type of license, it's through the roof if it's not under something that has been approved by OSHA.
Right.
So possibly the risk management here is something to consider.
Oh yeah, we definitely consider that. We have we have insurance that is covered through our company when it comes to that, and also any hair professional that signs on. Like, of course, if optional, if you have insurance or if you want to be part of it, of course we have that built in as well. And of course, as to mention to your years experience of that, I appreciate you mentioning that. As hair professionals I met, they took the risk, and they still kept doing it. It's weird. I spoke to a lot of hair professionals from every walks of life. It's like, okay, you even pandemic, you went to a person's house, and person I mentioned earlier, you went to a grocery store. Like that, to me, that's still unbelievable, but they did, and it was a person who works in a barbershop here in Vegas. But otherwise, it's a weird, it's.
I see a similar dynamics with Uber at the very
Yeah.
beginning. They hire them as 1099s, and then when there was a car accident, a lawsuit, or sexual assault, then they're like, well, they have to have their own private insurance, they're malpractice, they're yada yada.
Yeah, so we're like in between with we have the insurance in the end of the day just in case of that situation, but also, as I'm going to mention this now, future versions, we're adding a lot of security because of course Uber doesn't have much security, but we have a lot of security. So I'll give you an example. There's one that we're working on right now is where when someone comes to you, hair professional, comes to your home, there'll be a QR code given to you for both hair professional and customer. You have to scan it to make sure that's your personal hair professional. And the hair professionals make sure that's the customer that you are going to verification, so that we have that recorded constantly. Because in the day, you don't know who you're going to deal with. In the day, we didn't just come out this like, oh, we're gonna send every hair professional out without any security or anything like that, and customers can handle any stranger. No, that's not what we do. We went for security first to make sure to cover every ground when it comes to someone's home, because in the day that's your house. So we have future versions planned out for that sort of thing, of course, as you said. But also, anything could happen. We're humans. But of course, we always make sure we have security measures to cover that. But of course, that's my answer to that.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear. And then another thing that came up with the different services that we were getting on their platform when we go to their house.
Yeah.
As a woman, sometimes it was not a call that I thought it was for a blow dry. It was something that was a risk. When I walked into the house, there was no woman to blow dry the hair.
There was no woman to blow dry hair.
No, absolutely not. It was a different type of service they were wanting
Oh,
I'm being real with you. So there has to be something there of safety for your clientele on your platform. I'm telling you from lived experience.
yeah. Well, absolutely. And honestly, we have, like I mentioned before, the security stuff like that, and stuff like that. Like we're very strict when it comes to like users signing up. Like whoever you are that person, and the person this goes into the QR code in the future. You have to scan them to make sure that's them, not just some random stranger or guy or whatever. But of course, I would love, as you are a cosmetologist, I would love to keep getting feedback from you and also be happy to, talk and see what else we can add. So we're always up for to add more things. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So I'm going to do a couple wrap-up things, but also we're asking that our presenters stay. We're asking that our presenters stay for a little while so that we can ask them any additional questions. If you ask nicely, Rick might be willing to look up another website for you. I have a couple for you. Andrew, again, with his Bitcoin wallet, if you have any questions around how he made that, both of them will be staying afterwards for the Vegas Programmers Meetup in this room. Ivan will be at the launch party afterwards at 4 o'clock, and we always have some great goodies. I am personally hoping for ice cream. There was some alcohol in one last time. And lastly, I am actually going to be speaking in another room after this, so I'm going to be doing something not just on financial modeling, but more specifically data-driven storytelling. So if you would love to tell stories about your business using more than just words, more than just data, but the sum of them together, I will be in Suite 155 afterwards. Thank you all so much, and if you would like to do a demo next time, please feel free to reach out to either Joshua or myself.